If you're retiring on Social Security alone, I need to tell you something that nobody else probably will. You're likely going to run out of money. In 2025, the average Social Security check is about $2,008 per month. That's just over $24,000 per year. And here's a part that they don't tell you about Social Security. The program was originally designed to replace only about 40% of your pre-retirement income, not 100%. Therefore, many retirees, especially those who are high earners, are going to face a significant income replacement gap when it comes to what Social Security actually pays versus what they were accustomed to receiving when they were working. Over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about three key ideas. First, we're going to talk about what Social Security actually pays, what the program was designed to do, and how you need to think about Social Security as you plan for retirement. Second, I'm going to break down some of the math of what it takes for people to actually retire. And third, I'm going to give you a 4-step strategy or guide on ways that you can close the income gap between what Social Security will actually pay and your desired lifestyle in retirement. So first, let's discuss some cold, hard numbers. In 2025, the average Social Security paycheck is just over $2,000 per month or $24,000 per year. Now, if you are a high earner and you are maxing out your Social Security contributions for close to 35 years, your benefit could be much higher, up to even $4,900 per month. But let's be honest, that's not most people. For the average retiree, Social Security is probably going to replace somewhere between 30 and 40% of your pre-retirement income. So let's take a look at just a few very basic examples to see how this math could play out. For simplicity's sake, I'm using the average Social Security benefit, but of course, it's understood that many people who earn higher incomes do in fact have the potential for higher Social Security checks. So let's look at a few basic examples. For someone who had a pre-retirement income of $50,000 per year, $24,096 gives them an income gap of $25,904. $75,000 per year income minus the $24,096 Social Security supplement, we have an income gap of $50,904. $100,000 per year minus the Social Security supplemental income, we have an income gap of $75,904 per year. So, do you see that gap? The higher your pre-retirement earnings, the less replacement Social Security actually provides. This is intuitive, but even if you're going to receive a little bit higher than average benefit because you are paying more into the system, that gap still grows as your income is higher pre-retirement. But if you just look at somebody who was making $75,000 per year, just the gap between the average Social Security check and what they were making is roughly $51,000 per year. That's pretty significant. Again, Social Security was designed to be a safety net. It was never designed or intended to be a full-fledged retirement income program, but with greater life expectancy and longevity, that's what the program has become for many people. In fact, if you think about the three-legged stool of retirement income, which is an example that is often used, people will use Social Security, private pensions, and personal savings as the three-legged stool for retirement income. Well, many people today don't have pensions, and some of the people who still do, those pensions have been frozen, so they're no longer accruing benefits at the same rate that they were when they first started working. Social Security replaces less and less of your income the higher earner that you are, so that really puts a huge burden or a huge amount of pressure on your personal savings to make up or build up the slack. So here's the question that you need to ask yourself. Can you really retire on $2,008 per month, which is the average Social Security check? You may be able to, so the answer could technically be yes, but you won't like what it looks like. When you factor in housing costs, Medicare premiums, food, and transportation costs, there is not much there for any kind of lifestyle or enjoyment or fun. It is a very bare bones budget. And the worst part of that is you have almost zero margin for error if that is your primary income source. And not only are you having to deal with this bare bones budget, you also have to worry about the same things that everybody else does. Increasing Medicare Part B premiums or inflation eating away at your purchasing power over time. So the truth is, for most people, Social Security income is not going to be enough. You are going to need some other forms of revenue or income to help you close that income gap between Social Security and your desired lifestyle. Here are a few strategies for closing the income gap. First, look at all of your potential income sources. If you do have a pension, how does that impact your overall income? Do you have any other sources of income like rental income or income from part-time employment that you could add to the mix? If you have personal savings, what type of income or supplemental income can your personal savings generate? Ultimately, the goal is to create some type of income floor where you know exactly every month what your paycheck is going to look like. We begin with Social Security. So first, start with your Social Security benefits. Secondly, do you have pensions or other sources of income? Third, consider looking at adding some type of annuity or guaranteed income stream to add to and bolster your guaranteed sources of income. Fourth, look at part-time work or possibly working longer. And lastly, consider your other financial capital. Do you have a portfolio of assets or personal savings that you can use to supplement as you need for your lifestyle? When you begin to stack these layers together, you create more resilience in your overall income plan and your ability to withstand adjustments to your lifestyle over time. In addition to income layering, another strategy you can consider is to work longer and delay your Social Security benefits. Now, I know many people aren't going to like this. Here is how I frame this conversation. Many people think that working longer means just simply staying in the job that you no longer like or no longer brings you any amount of joy. That is not what I mean. There are many ways that you can continue working in retirement, either through some type of phased retirement where you're working less hours, possibly working part-time, or going to work for a completely new employer where you maybe make less money, but at the same time, you have a much higher quality of life. This could potentially prevent you from having to claim your Social Security benefits earlier and allow those benefits or those checks to continue to get larger. Also, what I have found is that a lot of people, if they're able to get away from the grind and the stress of their full-time work, they still enjoy having purpose and having socialization that some type of part-time work brings. So don't discount working longer and think that it means you've got to stay a slave to the corporate job. It simply means, could there be other ways for you to go out, have some purpose, find some socialization and joy in doing something that you really want to do versus your traditional 9-to-5. Strategy number 3 is to use tax efficient withdrawals as you go into your retirement years. One of the most important things about being tax efficient, and I've said this in other videos, is we don't live on our gross income. Most of us actually live on our net, what we get to keep after taxes. So being tax efficient provides a way for you to maximize your income by allowing you to keep as much as possible after you pay taxes, which I think is for many people the goal. So having a plan to be tax efficient in and through retirement is going to serve you throughout your entire retirement lifetime. So you want to think about the order in which you withdraw, your withdrawal sequence, your overall income strategies. Are there things you can do like qualified charitable distributions? Are there things you can do like Roth conversions? What about long-term capital gains harvesting or tax loss harvesting in brokerage accounts? The idea here is we want to be tax efficient. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're looking to pay the lowest tax bill in any given year. What it means is we want to pay the lowest lifetime tax bill we possibly can. This last strategy is actually a repeat of an earlier strategy, but I want to close the loop on this. I'm a huge proponent of understanding and building what we call a floor of income in retirement. A floor of income is something that is steady, consistent, and reliable. You think about a floor, you stand on your floor. You do not go beneath a floor unless your floor is rotten, and that completely ruins this analogy. But for most people, when you think about a floor is something that's sturdy and holds you up. So we want to think about income sources that are going to be steady and sturdy and stable in retirement. Things like Social Security income, your pension income, if you have annuity income, or maybe you should consider adding some annuity income to your overall retirement income plan. There are studies that are starting to come out that are showing annuity income actually can create more income or more efficient income strategies. So don't discount using an annuity just because you read something bad online about annuities. They have a place, especially in the retirement income planning conversation. And then lastly, how do you incorporate your portfolio withdrawals, those tax efficient withdrawals, the sequencing of your withdrawals? How do you incorporate that with your floor of income to create a really solid retirement income strategy? So remember, the goal isn't to live on Social Security. The goal is to live with Social Security as part of a coordinated retirement income strategy. Hey, if you find yourself in that boat where you're trying to figure all this stuff out and you're confused about Social Security, you're not sure when the best time for you to claim is, or if you're looking at how do you best coordinate Social Security with your spouse or into an overall retirement income plan, click on the link below and schedule a retirement fit call with our team today. We would be glad to meet with you, learn more about your situation, and help you come up with a customized strategy that's just for you. And if you're not quite ready for that consultation yet, and you like this video, go ahead, give us a like, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for our weekly retirement videos. We want to make sure that we're providing content that you find useful, that you can have clarity and peace of mind as you plan for your retirement. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.